Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Yay, good to see you. Good to see you. Yay. Well, my name is Chris Katzenmeier, and I am the executive director of the Legacy Labyrinth Project. I will be one of the hosts today, and the other host is to my left. I don't know where she is on your screen, but this is Susie Leeper. Susie Leeper is the membership chairman for the Labyrinth Society and also a co-coordinator for Labyrinth Day or World Labyrinth Day. So glad you're here, Susie. Great. We'll hear more from Susie in just a few minutes. We have some other people here that are our panelists today, and I'm very excited to introduce them. We have Reverend Pat Bessie. Want to wave to us, Reverend Pat? There she is. Thank you. Reverend Pat is from the Unity Center for Spiritual Growth in Windham, Maine. We also have Reverend Shay Maltsby. Where are you? There you are. Thank you. Who is the senior minister of the Unity Church of Sussex County in Lafayette, New Jersey. And we have Marianne Wamha, excuse me. And Marianne is a faculty member with Veritas, and she's very happy to share with us that she is spreading labyrinths all over Virginia. She's our facilitator today of labyrinths. So thank you, panel, for being here.
And
There
I'd like to just give a shout out too to my co-coordinator for World Labyrinth Day, Carmel Stadley. She's also the vice president at the Labyrinth Society. So thank you for coming and joining us, Carmel. That's really great.
And we would love to know who you are too. And we would ask you to maybe just use the chat and put your name, maybe the church that you're affiliated with, or the town, or both. We'd love to see who is here. And we welcome you very, very much. We're very happy that you are using your Saturday afternoon, evening to be with us. Before
This
we,
While
yeah,
you
go
do
ahead,
that,
Susie.
I'll just let you know that this morning we had Unity churches from 10 different states participate. And also we had someone from Sweden. So it was a wonderful group. And we're looking forward to the same tonight. It's going to be an overdose of good.
Can't have too much good. So thank you by putting your all your information in the chat. One of the things, before we get too far into this, one of the things that we do at all of our meetings on the World Labyrinth Day Steering Committee is we say an intention together, and we say this intention together to bring us together, but to really open our hearts together as well. So I would like to do that right now with you. It's very simple, very short. Um, and you can also use this intention as well with any of the meetings that you are having with World Labyrinth Day. So if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes and putting your feet on the floor and taking a nice deep breath and just start to bring yourself into this circle. Just allowing yourself to relax and allowing yourself to let go and just focus on this meeting today. And I invite you just to take a couple deep breaths right into the heart space, right into your heart space. And when you exhale, you're exhaling from the heart space as well. And in your mind's eye or your imagination, if you can just imagine all of us right here, right now in this circle, breathing together, bringing our hearts together, and knowing that as a community in this short time together, that we will be focusing on something very important, a collective walk for World Labyrinth Day, bringing peace and consciousness to our planet. So I'm going to say the intention, and then if you would just take it in, take it into your heart. The hearts of the hosts and participants are preparing and prepared for World Labyrinth Day. All labyrinths are connected for the highest purpose in our world. And I'll repeat it one more time and just taking the words into your heart. The hearts of the hosts and the participants are prepared and preparing for World Labyrinth Day. All labyrinths are connected for the highest purpose in our world. So when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you very much. And looking at the faces of all these beautiful people here today and the names, we believe in coherence, and coherence, starting any sort of meeting with our hearts joining together, brings the coherence. And also, it's a wonderful technique to use on World Labyrinth Day with any group that you are walking with, to just have everybody just stop and focus on breathing in their heart. So here we go. The purpose, I want to just share the purpose of our meeting today. We have this lovely panel who has designed to support all of you um, and to create a meaningful World Labyrinth Day and a World Labyrinth Day event within your own communities. Together, we will learn from experienced ministers and labyrinth facilitators who have successfully hosted these gatherings and have been sharing practical insights, spiritual framing, and creative approaches that help transform a simple walk into a powerful act of collective intention and compassionate presence. Our goal is that you all leave here today inspired, equipped, and connected to a growing network of leaders bringing the practice of the labyrinth to life in service of a more conscious and caring world. So that is our intent. And added to that is we would love to hear from you too. If you are planning an event, we'd love to hear your ideas. If you've ever done a World Labyrinth Day event or a labyrinth event in the past, we would love to hear that too. We just want to bring all of the ideas we can together and put it in a big soup so you can draw from any of it and all of it. We will be talking for a while, and my invitation to you is just to maybe write down your questions, and we will have a Q&A period for sure, and you can ask any of us what your question is. And in that same time, you can share with us, we would love you to share with us your ideas as well. So with that, let me turn this over to my co-host, Susie Leeper, who will tell you a little bit more about the history of World Labyrinth Day.
Well, hello and welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for taking time to join us tonight. And first, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. How many of those, other than my presenters and my co-coordinator, have already had a World Labyrinth Day event at your church? Can you just give me a show of hands? Okay, how many have already planned to do one this year, or is there any show of hands for people already planning? And how many, is this the first time you ever heard of World Labyrinth Day? Nobody. Everybody's heard of World Labyrinth. Oh, one person hasn't just learned about World Labyrinth Day. Okay, well, I think we have something. I think we have something for everybody in this presentation. So I'll just go right into it with the history. There's a little bit more history on the worldlabyrinthday.org website, but in brief, the concept of a day of labyrinth focus came out of a Labyrinth Society strategic planning committee. And in 2008, the Labyrinth Society Board of Directors approved having a full day annually of Labyrinth Love, if you will. And they chose the first Saturday in May to be the continuing date for the event. The intention, this is Chris had asked me a couple of meetings ago about, she really wondered where the intention to walk as one at one came from. And that came from Linda Torlokus, who was a Labyrinth Society board member and quite a labyrinth enthusiast still. And she brought that up and the board loved it. So that is our intention, to walk as one at one forming that global wave of peace, starting out in the Bay of Plenty in New Zealand and traveling around the world, ending up in the Marshall Islands, really, but technically for us, with usually with a wonderful labyrinth in Maui. I wanted to show you a little bit about the resources and the website and the resources that we have. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Everybody seeing this now? There's your countdown. You've got 69 days, 6 hours, 30 minutes, and 18 seconds to
But who's
go.
counting, Susie? Who's counting?
Yeah, but who's counting? The website is full of powerful information and help for you. I'm just going to roll over the drop-down menu so you can see the subjects. On this tab, the Pre-World Labyrinth Day events, we have 2 more free workshops to help you with your planning. One is March 7th coming up, at which Carmel Stapley, who is here this evening, will be one of the presenters, along with the amazing Lars Howlett. This is an event that is co-sponsored by the Labyrinth Society and Veriditas. And then in April, our Chris Katzenmeyer from Legacy Labyrinth Project, your host tonight, is going to be presenting about the collective power of World Labyrinth Day, of collective power of walking for World Labyrinth Day. So hopefully if you go to this particular tab, you can sign up for those 2 free events. Again, they're offered at 2 times, just like this one is. I'll quickly just submit over here to show you this is where you can go to submit an event. There's a form right there. And then we have the map that you can see where the events that are currently registered are. And I'll just show you one particular one. Marianne, who's one of our presenters, she's already registered an event for the Unity of Charlottesville. So you can see this is her tab. And when you go and look at the map, you can click on any tab and the information will change. This is one that's being done, World Labyrinth Day, Open Labyrinth Walks in New Ringle, Pennsylvania. So it's a great interactive map. And we also have in our resources area, we have a wonderful selection of PR materials for you to use. I'm going to show you an example. We have a customizable template for your flyers. It's got the logo on it already, used as the World Labyrinth Day color. It's easy for you to just fill in some fun information and all the details of your particular event, print them out or share them by your social media. And most of it's done for you. You don't have to think about the planning part. And also in resources, we have videos about accessibility and inclusion that will help you think about ideas to make your labyrinth walks more accessible and include more people. As they say in the videos, accessibility, remember, is like receiving an invitation to the dance, and inclusion is being there and actually dancing. So make sure that you really find something for everybody at your events, and we're trying to help you with that. Let's see. What else did I plan to show you on there? Finger labyrinths. Yes, finger labyrinths. In case of emergency for rain or snow, who knows, we have finger labyrinth section here that you can print out, download and print out and have a supply of these for folks to use just in case. Or if you're planning in particular for folks that are mobility challenged and you want to have an option for them to also participate in the program. Last year, we had over 400 events, and we had 46 states participating. The only people say, which ones didn't? Which ones didn't? Well, if you know any unities in these states, you can give them a shout out. We've got North Dakota and South Dakota, Arkansas, and Nebraska. So sort of a little square chunk up there that we need a little bit of help with. We had events in 6 continents. So if anybody has a contact in Antarctica, we're still looking for that. And 37 countries. So it's been quite an event. It's grown over time from the first one in 2009 until now. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of your events registered and going on to the map. Back to you,
And
Chris.
Susie, didn't you say that, can you share with us how many Unity churches participated, or are you
Well,
doing that a little bit
that's in the
later?
other part. That's in the other part.
Okay, okay, okay. I'll wait then. All
Lots.
right. Wait, can wait. We can wait. Thank you, Susie. And being on the World Labyrinth Day Steering Committee, I can tell you, both Carmel and Susie work really hard for all of us to have really special events and to make it easy to have a World Labyrinth Day event. So, with that in mind, I just want to go over just a couple or three or four housekeeping things before we start. Each panelist will be speaking for about 7 minutes. Again, please take notes and questions if you like. This is being recorded and it will be sent to you. And we have absolutely no problem if you want to send it on to anybody else. And we're going to try to stay to an hour. We know we're all busy people and this is a weekend, so we will keep it to an hour. And if we're not done with questions, we'll keep the questions to the end. And if we're not done with them at the hour, we will all stay afterwards and invite you to do the same and ask your questions, and we'll stay here until they're all answered. So with that, I want to introduce our first speaker, Marianne Wamhoff. And when we saw Marianne's slide presentation production, um, we were very taken with what she wants to share with us, because what she wants to share with us, and it's not new to Unity ministers, I know, but it's about oneness, and it's about when we walk together on labyrinths with an intention, we're doing a direct connect to source and to the field. So we thought it would be really helpful to all of us if we get reminded where where all of this connection, where all the power of this connection really is coming from. So I think if everybody could mute themselves, that would be great. I'm hearing somebody in the background, but thank you. Okay, Marianne, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. And welcome all of you. And congratulations for giving yourself this time. We know you have lots of other ways to use your time, but I trust that you're going to walk away with something valuable and share it. And that's the exciting part, sharing it when you go home. So, Chris already told you I'm here as a facilitator. And so my presentation is I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once and that never works. It's about that. It's about fields. And you're going to say what? But let me just go. So on a labyrinth, the field is what you step on. So on the image on the left, it's the black asphalt, and the path is defined by the paint, the blue paint. The image on the right, which is my Baltic wheel, you walk on the grass, such as it is, and the bricks define that path. But that's not what's really important. That's not what I'm talking about. I read this book. We've got some more noise. Um, you know, Space is Not Empty by Alan Briskin and Mary Gelinas. And the subtitle, How Fields Are Shaping Your Life and Our World, and How Through Your Field You Do That, You Shape. There are three fields I'm going to be talking about. And in this book, and what is pertinent for us today, it's really more like what Rumi was talking about 800 years ago. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. So in this book, a field is defined as a space or territory in which a network of interactive forces, both visible and invisible, are radiating from sources inside us and all around us. And they influence how we feel, think, and behave. And we're all participating in living fields of energy and information each and every moment. It's kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi describing the Force as a mysterious energy that binds the galaxy together and gives Jedi their power. I really kind of like that one. So, one thing to remember, our bodies respond to fields of energy, and I'm sure you already are aware of that. And many of us believe that that's why we respond to a labyrinth. Because in an archetypal labyrinth, the sacred geometry makes us feel safe. Sacred geometry is based on nature. It comes from the dimensions of the universe. It comes from the Fibonacci sequence of numbers and the same sequence that's in a pine cone or on a nautilus shell. It comes from the golden mean artists talk about. So it's beautiful and it's safe. You walk in and it's ready. You kind of can drop in. It affects us. We usually slow our breath a little, slow our pace a little, usually. And some people can kind of regulate their blood pressure that way. But you couple that with the unicursal path where you don't have to make any decisions. And then you could coast. That's what enables it to be moving meditation. You know, it's more contained and more powerful than just walking around in a circle, which I've done at times. But it's more powerful on a labyrinth. Now I have to move this. Good heavens! There we go. All right, so the first field is your personal field, and it looks like this. And this image comes from the Heart Math Institute. And what I really want you, please, to pay attention to is that it emanates from your heart, not your mind. It makes this donut shape of energy around you, more or less, called a torus. And that's pretty cool. So if that's so cool, then why do we ever bother to walk together? Oops. There we go. I don't understand what's happening here. So your field affects me, my field affects you. And that amplifies whatever intention, if you have the same intention as we will on Labyrinth Day, World Labyrinth Day. It amplifies it. It makes it more powerful. Facilitators hold space during a walk, and we pay attention to this social field. That's the name of the second field. But on World Labyrinth Day, we utilize the noetic field. And it's not always called that, but that's what happens. And the noetic field is connected to nature. You walk into nature and you can usually breathe, differently than I do when I'm sitting in my living room. And the cosmos is connected to the noetic field. This is the realm. The noetic realm is where distance healing occurs. It's where, because of non-locality, which is one of these quantum physics realizations. The Divine Matrix, a book by Greg Braden, he calls it the Divine Matrix. Scientists call it the quantum soup. That's where ESP, extrasensory perception, occurs. That's where we can talk about mending the world. And that's where the Labyrinth Activist Network and contemplative labyrinth activism focus. That's where the global healing response can occur. We cross over to the caring field. So we can talk about global coherence while we sit in our backyard, so to speak. That's where Edgar Mitchell, sitting up in his space capsule looking down at this little vulnerable green and blue planet Earth, he had this breakthrough that affected the rest of his life. So in the noetic field, we are living with a sense of the immense, irrespective of our belief systems or concepts. And on World Labyrinth Day, this is what Labyrinth Activists Network, that's what we'll be doing. We have an intention, and it's similar to the one I had on a previous slide. And it's for peace and planetary healing, and Lynn McTaggart can help you hone a good intention. We center ourselves, we calm down that personal field, much like Chris helped us do at the beginning of this session. We state our positive intention as a unit, so we're forming our social field. Then we walk, allowing space, focusing on our intention. And when we get to the center, lots of folks I've noticed, they go like this. And it took me a while, but after reading this book, I figured out, oh, they're releasing it to the noetic field, of course, So that's where that happens, or can happen. And then receive the next steps in the center for your sacred action, yourself or your group, and then you leave. And maybe you share your insights and activate your mission. And I've walked with people who have gotten images, seen soldiers put down weapons, and that can happen. That hasn't happened to me, but that can happen. Anything can happen. So even though Pierre Teilhard de Chardin calls it the noetic field, and he talked about the mind of the planet, and Brian Swim talks about, this is happening because as humans, where we continue to evolve is in our consciousness. But Teilhard de Chardin also said the day will come when after harnessing space, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne. Very nice. Very, very nice. Oh, so that's the power of the collective walk. When we all walk together with an intention in the way and the fashion that Marianne has shared with us, we can move mountains. And that really is the point of World Labyrinth Day, not to move mountains, but to share the intention of peace and oneness with one another. So we're just delighted that unity ministers and unity churches all over the world want to participate in this. We know this is in your backyard, your wheelhouse, and so we could not be happier. I want to just make one quick note about the Labyrinth Activist Network that Marianne talked about. That really is a thing. And if you want to come to it, it's free. It's every month. We walk together. We walk together, much like we will on World Labyrinth Day, but we come together as a collective. And if you want to go to Legacy Labyrinth Project.org website, thank you, Susie. You can sign up right there. It's free. We'd love to have you. It's a practice. It's practicing this for sure. So with that, and with that lovely sound of fire, thank you, Marianne. And I want to introduce our next speaker, which will be Reverend Shay.
Greetings, everyone. I'm going to share my screen, and thank you for being here with us this evening. So, as we indicated before, I'm with Unity of Sussex County. I'm the minister, and we're located in Lafayette, New Jersey. And I want to tell you the history of our labyrinth. The labyrinth was actually built in 2007, and it was built by our congregants. And they actually took rocks from their homes, and then they prayed over the rocks, and that was used to actually build the labyrinth. So there's some pictures here of some folks back in 2007 building the labyrinth. And it's my understanding that the labyrinth was built right in time for us to participate in the 2009 inaugural World Labyrinth Day. So I'm excited to know that I'm a part of that history. And here's an aerial view of our labyrinth, which is on our acreage. We have 10 acres of land and it's on the property. And last year, one of our congregants kindly actually made us a cloth labyrinth. This labyrinth, I'm kind of excited about it because I like sacred geometry, and you can't really tell from this picture, but in the corners, there are, in each corner, there is a Metatron's cube, which is a sacred geometric pattern, and also in the center, there is a Metatron's cube. In the past, we used to borrow a cloth labyrinth when we would have labyrinth events, because we have some people that are not as sure-footed, and so we enable them to walk in our fellowship hall. So when I've been at this center for 5 years, and when I first came, our original World Labyrinth days were more peaceful and kind of contained just within our community. We would have Reiki practitioners. You can see some of them in the pictures. They would help to activate the labyrinth outdoors, as well as the one we borrowed for indoors. We would have people walking indoors and outdoors. Back in 2022, there was some rain, so you see some people with umbrellas walking. And then what we decided to do is to expand the event. And so now we've made it into a community event. Our event starts at noon. We have yoga or some type of movement, qigong, either chair yoga or gentle movement. We then make sure people are walking on the labyrinth, both indoors and outdoors, before one, so that we have a number of people walking as one at one. And if you saw in that other picture, sometimes we have a harpist, sometimes we have a drummer and a flutist, which you can see right now in this picture. And then let me show you what else we added to our. And the event is for people of all ages. Literally, we've had the youngest individual about age 7 and the oldest individual in their 80s, which I'm so thrilled that it's such a diverse group of people coming to the event. The other thing that we've added is what we like to call sacred crafting, sacred activity. And so we've had some things where people use finger labyrinths and design them. They've done something called Zentangle. I'm not sure if folks know what that is. And here's a couple of examples of some of the beautiful creations of individuals. And then we use them to actually do the walking of the finger labyrinths. And this is the entrance to our labyrinth. There's sometimes we'll have a pride flag because we honor and celebrate the oneness of all life. And we have our peace flag as well. We also have a peace pole on the property. So that is our beautiful labyrinth. That's what we do. As I indicated, our event starts at about 12. We end at 3. We also have some refreshments for individuals, and we put it out to basically many communities. We use different social media platforms to get the word out, as well as Eventbrite. And so I'm excited about that. There is one other thing I want to mention, which is a little different than Labyrinth, but it's along the same lines of this frequency of peace that not only do we cultivate, but we put out in the world. And there's an event. I'm actually on the board of Unity Eastern Region. And there's going to be an event this Wednesday called the Keepers of the Light Prayer Vigil. If you're interested, you can go to the website that you see on the screen. If you want, you can take a picture of that of this website. Basically, there is a church, a Methodist church in Washington, D.C., that's going to be having an event. We're going to be supporting it with a prayer vigil starting at 9 a.m. There'll be a prayer vigil for half an hour. Then there'll be a worship service that we'll be watching on Zoom. And then once that service is over, there'll be a gentle processional to the Capitol, and we will be holding the light and continuing that prayer vigil for about another hour. So everyone is welcome if you so choose. And again, we're going to be holding that piece. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Reverend Shay. It was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, and so creative. I mean, who knew that crafting and labyrinths could go together? That's beautiful. Thank you. A lot of creative ideas there. Speaking of creative ideas, let me introduce you to Reverend Pat and take it away, please.
Well, I am delighted to be here. I want to thank Chris and Susie for inviting me and to be able to be with these other great facilitators of this. It has been fun. And again, a lot of learning, a lot of history that I didn't know about. And so it's been a very informative opportunity. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And I'm going to move this out of the way so I can go to slideshow and get to, let me see, slideshow here from the beginning. There, can you see that? Yay, okay. So this is a slide that is on our Facebook page. This is the original labyrinth that was created back in 2006. And during the time that we were in COVID, our labyrinth took a hit. There wasn't anybody there for about 2 years to keep it up. So when we got back into our building and we're fully functioning again, it was evident that the labyrinth needed a reboot. And so what was so interesting is that the person who was the director of the labyrinth in 2006, the project manager, was still there. And she had a great passion to get the labyrinth back up and in full operation again. And so the restoration began in 2024. And what you're seeing here is what we did is we had a piece of equipment come in, and they went and we took all the rocks away, and we had to create a schematic. So when it got time to put it all back together again, we had the exact same widths and dimensions of the first one. But all of the rocks, just as Shay said, were brought in the beginning from people's homes. And so there was a sentimental and a very deep attachment to this for the people who provided with all the rocks. So the equipment came in and took off all the weeds and all the topsoil. It had to go down about 3 inches. And then we laid a new barrier, a new weed barrier, before we then brought back in the rocks. And we brought the rocks in before we actually brought in the what's it called, Shay? Help me.
The stone dust.
Stone dust. Thank you. I could not think of that word. So the stone dust is all that dark that you see there. And that was now the new level of over the top of the matting so that we wouldn't have weeds come up through. And so that got taken care of. And then as we continued on, now this started in 2004, and we're still in the process of creating it. So here you see it again with the stone dust and the center and all the rocks. And then if you look beyond, well, you can look up close and you'll see there's benches. And in the past, the benches were there, but they were not set on a cement foundation. So they moved with the earth. And so we decided that we needed to make pads so that the benches would stay stable. So you can see there are benches all the way around it. But if you look even further out, you'll see these little trees that were planted because we live on a fairly busy road, and so we were putting in a noise barrier. But every one of those trees were bought by somebody, either in memory of somebody or in celebration or honoring somebody. And so they will all have a name at some point. We haven't got there yet. But so you can see we're still in the process. And if you look at the outer rim of the labyrinth, that's where planting has happened. We have started putting in plants. As you can notice in the back, our peace pole, as Shay mentioned, is the original peace pole that was placed in there in 2006. So we just took it out and had it refurbished. So it's now back in place and looking beautiful. And then our labyrinth sits up on a hill. So when you drive into the parking lot, you really can't see that there's a labyrinth up there. So we really wanted to make it very visible. So now we have a sign that's on the side. So when people drive in, that's the first thing they see is the labyrinth sign. So they'll know that there is a labyrinth up there. And there you see the benches and the flowers that are growing now. And I realized that I had one of these laminated handouts that was mentioned earlier. We've made them. This was in May 4th of 2024, the one I have in my hand, but it's the one that is the shape of the labyrinth and it's laminated. And on the back side of it, it shows how to use this. And so these are given to people to take home so they can sit with a labyrinth anytime that they feel a need to just get quiet and settle in. And they can use their hand labyrinth to bring them back to a place of quiet and centering themselves. And of course, it has our information of our church on it too, as a little bit of an advertisement. I want to speak a little bit too. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to speak just very briefly to what we're doing this year. In the past, I have kind of spearheaded what happens for the labyrinth. And I thought, I'm not doing that this year. So we have prayer partners in some unity churches that call prayer chaplains. And so I took it to the prayer partners and I said, would you be willing and interested in creating our World Labyrinth Day this year? And they were very interested in doing that. So they are the ones that are creating the program this year. I know it's going to be prayer focused because of who they are, but I'm excited about this because, again, it's about community involvement and having other people take ownership of this. So it is going to be their creation. I have no idea what it's going to be. In the past, we have had, as Shay did, we've had folks who have done drumming, who have done gong meditation. Last year, our good friend Todd Lacey had his gong, and I mean, it was big, and he was gonging the whole time that people were walking. It was beautiful. So there are many different ways that you, as in your community, can create a memorable experience for people. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have a 5-year project. We're in like year 2 or 3. But one of the things that we want to do is create around the outer perimeter of the labyrinth a walkway for ADA so that anybody who is either on a walker or in a wheelchair can go around the outer perimeter and participate in a labyrinth walk, just not inside because it's not wide enough for them. So we have reached out for grants. I want you to know that there are opportunities to get grants for your labyrinth, and we are in the process of getting a grant that will help with the cost of putting that ADA out there. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that our focus this year is really to get further out into the community. We have a women's recovery center that's up the road from us, and at least once a week, a van of women will come down and walk the labyrinth. And it always makes my heart feel so good when I drive in and see them. And the last time that they were here, I wasn't there, but the person who was working on the labyrinth was there. And she said, I really got a good idea of why we have to have that ADA, because one person was in a wheelchair and she had to sit in the parking lot while the others walked the labyrinth. So it was a divine example of why that ADA is so important. So that is what I have to share with you, and I'm excited for what this year brings and for being able to share our experience with you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Reverend
you.
Pat. Thank you. Yeah, I think we were all walking that labyrinth with you. Those are great pictures. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I want to turn it over to Susie, who has a lot of history of Unity churches to share with us, plus other
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, it was very interesting for me to go back and look at the first World Labyrinth Day in 2009 and discover that there were 6 Unity churches that participated out of the 89 total events that were listed. And of course, you already know from Reverend Shea that one of those was the Unity of Sussex County in New Jersey. Also, I'll run through these quickly. The Unity Spiritual Center of Hunterdon County, which back then was known as Unity Circle of Grace, also in New Jersey. Unity of Greater Rochester, New York. The Unity of Naples, Florida. Unity of Baton Rouge in Louisiana. And the Unity Spiritual Center of Traverse City. And several of these have continued to maintain their World Labyrinth Day events. And I'm looking forward to contacting each of them and asking them to present something at our 20th World Labyrinth Day in a couple of years. This is the 18th this year. Last year, we had 405 total events registered. I'm sure there were at least 100 or more additional ones that we don't know about, plus all the people that just walk on their own or with their families that don't bother to register themselves as an event. Although you can register those and they will count on our numbers. Although, it's not about the numbers, but, as long as you're out there walking, it's okay. Of those 405 last year, 15 were from Unity churches, and they were in 13 different states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Maine, Michigan, Missouri. Unity Village held a big walk. North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Tennessee, and Virginia. Again, what an amazing participation level from Unity churches. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to do this program, because we felt we had an inspired group with a real message and something that really vibes with the World Labyrinth Days Walk as One at One. And I made a short little video for you that is of a few of the photos that were sent in last year from the Unity Walks in 2005. just a little bit of inspiration for you. And we do have a 9 minute and 38-second video of all of, well, of 199 different events that occurred last year. That's available on the website, and a shorter 5 minute version if you have any meetings that you want to inspire people with. It's really quite something to watch those. The messages that you saw there, I would encourage all of the Unity churches to consider sharing messages between each other of hope, love, peace. This is done, the messages that you saw in the video were done by a labyrinth lover in the United Kingdom who asks for messages from all over the world. And you have an opportunity to share your messages with her also through a link on the homepage of the website. So it's been great working with everybody. I just want to remind you that an event doesn't need to be large or complicated. We always say that, there's no right way to walk the labyrinth. And in the same way, there's no right way to do World Labyrinth Day. The important thing is that we do World Labyrinth Day and bring that intention to the world. So thank you very much for coming, and I'm going to turn it back over to Chris.
Thank you, Susie. Yes, these World Labyrinth Day coordinators, again, Carmel and Susie, are working really hard to make it easy for us. So I want to emphasize the World Labyrinth Day website. If you need a press release, it's there. If you need more ideas, it's there. If you want to see what other people, videos that people have made about their World Labyrinth Day event, it's there. So it's a wealth of information, and it continues to grow. So thank you, presenters, very, very much. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or ideas, maybe you just got an idea and want to, bring it out and we can talk about it. So this is our time. Any questions for anyone here or any ideas to share? Just raise your hand. Oh, I'm sorry, the
Quick
raise your
shout
hand
out to
button.
quick shout out there to Sue Tyner. You saw one of the pictures from her event last year at the Unity of Tustin. So thank you very much,
Awesome.
Sue, for being here.
Yeah, yeah, yay, yay. Do you
Thank
want to tell us
you.
about that, Sue? Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. So first time I even heard of World Labyrinth Day was 3 years ago, and my husband actually read an article that I think Katie Ball had written or whatever for it was in the LA Times, and there were no events in Orange County where I live. So the closest event was like almost an hour away at the Murray and Joseph Retreat Center. So we went up there and we went to that event, and so it kind of inspired me just in general about labyrinth. So we have a labyrinth at Unity Tustin, and I said, well, we should have a World Labyrinth Day event 2 years ago. So there were three of us that got together and just tried to put together an event, but we didn't know anything about labyrinths really. I mean, we couldn't facilitate it. So somebody decided agreed to lead that event or to lead organizing it. And so we reached out, and she reached out, and Katie Bull actually came down, almost like a 2 hour drive for her, and facilitated our event. And so then a year ago, October, there were seven of us that actually, as a result of that event kind of generating some energy, went through facilitator training. So there's now five of us that are still there that are facilitators. So we were able to put on our own event last year. Someone led that event as part of getting certified. So so yeah, we're planning our event. I have a meeting next week. I lead the Labyrinth Ministry now at Unity. So there
Yeah.
are, like I said, five of us, but I'm going to be in Unity Village for World Labyrinth Day this year. So the other people, yeah, I'm going to
Yeah, I know.
your
I'll be
event.
there
Yeah.
too. Yay.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. And then the remaining people are going to put together the event somehow. So we're going to talk about that more next week. So yeah, it's really catching on. And this is unrelated to World Labyrinth Day, but I'll just share one of the people that went through facilitator training and actually got certified. Sadly, she had a very aggressive cancer and passed away the end of January. And so we had her memorial service a week ago today on Valentine's Day. And that's where we honored her by, walking the labyrinth after. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's another great idea of using the labyrinth. Really, it
Hmm.
is. Really.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue. I'll see you at Unity Village.
Yes. Nice to see you in person.
Oh, you too. Who else? Any marketing ideas that you are thinking about using or have used in the past? I know we've talked about press releases, and I know some people are doing Facebook really, really well. I think that has worked for a lot of people to get people to World Labyrinth Day on the Labyrinth. Any
And
other
I,
ideas?
I would just say something to that too, Chris. A
Hmm.
couple of things. One, um, I have been putting stuff, and I will be putting the labyrinth out onto other Facebook platforms of the towns around us. Most towns have their own have a community bulletin board, and so putting the events out there again brings attention to it and hopefully
Hmm.
brings people to it as well. But if you look at your surrounding area and the little towns, and I don't know, I mean, maybe you're in a big city and you don't have little towns, but we do. And when you put it out there, it gives people, first of all, the understanding that there's something happening, but it will also promote people coming. The other thing is if you have a local newspaper in your community, reach out to the editor. They're always looking for stories and get a story in prior to World Labyrinth Day so that it will invite people to the event. But they're always looking for something for the community to
Hmm.
hear about.
Good point. Good point. Reverend Shea.
Yeah, a couple of other ideas are to reach out to some local youth organizations such as the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts, just so that they know that it's there and it can help them in relaxing and being mindful. You know, young people are going through
Mhm.
quite a bit, so giving them another opportunity to
Mhm.
be in a different type
Mhm.
of meditative space. The other
Mhm.
thing is some of the people in my community have kind of done what we call a grassroots type of connection, basically reaching out to our families and friends all across the country, just letting them know that it exists. And I was
Mhm.
thrilled that I'm in a friend group, and there's about 12 of us in the text group. And I was thrilled that two of them, one in Washington State in Tacoma, and one that was traveling in Europe, they found labyrinths and they walked them for the first time. So
Hey.
that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Sue or Mary Ann.
Well, that just, we need to mention the labyrinth locator, the worldwide labyrinth locator, which I'm seeing some head shakes, so you know about it. That's great. When you're traveling, that's wonderful. And if you're not sure where your nearest labyrinth is, you can find out on that site. Usually, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sue.
Yeah, we use Eventbrite, but we've also posted them on Meetup. I don't know if anybody uses that, but like I led a walk for New Year's, like a full moon walk, and I had people show up through that. And more people came that weren't familiar with our community, so it's kind of another way to get people. And then Facebook again, but just like posting on my own personal page and then asking other people to do that. And then we have a
Mhm.
like a Facebook group for the city of Tustin where there's like, 10,000 people part of it. And
Mm.
if I post it out there, even if one or two people come, it's nice to get some new people.
Mhm. Great.
And I think it's
Wonderful
about
ideas.
awareness. It's about
Mhm.
awareness, letting people know that this exists. Because for
Mhm.
a lot of people, they don't even have an idea that this is available or that there's one close by them. So I think, and oftentimes it will take more than one or two times of them seeing it before they might take action.
Mhm.
But it's
Right.
again, it's just making people aware.
Right. And I'd like to throw in an idea about walking as a group. At the Legacy Labyrinth Project, we do a lot of research on walking the collective, walking as a collective, and how powerful that is, and
Hmm.
what really does that do. And so it doesn't matter if you have two people or 22 people or 200 people. The energy, as Marianne showed us in that picture, the energy that we create with one another with a focused intention is so powerful. And when we, like she did, when we release it into the into source, into the field, that's the power. That's the power, and it goes where it needs to go. It goes where it needs to go. So really, what you do on World Labyrinth Day, we appreciate, and we will feel it in some way, and we will connect in that field that Rumi talks about, and that's the point, is to connect and to connect in peace. So looking at the clock, we are right at an hour. We will close right now, and I want to say thank you to our panelists and to the co-host, and to all of you that took your time to be here. I hope you got at least one idea and maybe two or three. And our emails are in the chat. So if a couple days from now, if you want to get back with one of us with a question,